What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the next video in learning C++. My name is QDS Danny and you guys watching my channel Cryowood. Alright, so we have reached here inheritance, and I'm gonna let you guys know that you guys learning one of the most important aspect of C++ object-oriented programming and any other object-oriented programming. And I just tell you that inheritance is one of the very important subjects you guys need to remember and you guys need to learn, because in your journey towards we're going towards a polymorphism and we're going towards virtual functions in C++, and you guys need to know this is something that you guys must know this concept very well in order for you guys to understand the rest of C++ or any other object-oriented programming language. Alright, so we begin with the inheritance. As you guys know that we have a father, we have grandparents, like we have a parents, we have grandparents, and that's how it goes. That's the hierarchy of the humans. We have relationships with our father, and our fathers had a relationship with the grandfathers, and they had a relationship with their fathers and grandfathers. Alright, so what I'm saying this is because inheritance is similar in English words, like you guys inherit something from your parent. So inheritance is a creation of hierarchical classification. That's the simplest and one of the most common explanation that you guys hear, that inheritance is a creation of hierarchical classification. Class can be inherited by other classes. Inheritance is a process of the new class, and you guys can see this new class, we call this a derived class, and whatever the class you guys creating from is called the base class. So if you guys look in here, the parent, which is the base class, we call it the base class, and the child, we call it the derived class. We refer inherited class as, so you guys need to, if you guys want to write this one. So we inherited class as a base class, and we call the base class in common English word, we refer it as a parent class, and the class that does the inheritance is called the derived class. If you guys coming from PHP and C# or Java, they have exactly the same process, and but in Java it's totally a little bit different. But instead of, if you guys look in here, we use a colon, say in our access modifiers, and if you guys look in here, that's a child class is inheriting from the base class. But in Java and PHP is a little bit different, because they use in Java or PHP they use something called extend, because the extending class, just like we are extension of our family. Say if I am the son of the family and I'm extending that family, I'm taking that family name forward. So that's the same process, but instead of because in C++ we say it's a base class, but in Java it's called superclass. So if you guys coming from Java, this one's called superclass, which is the similar to base class, and I'm gonna put it here, the Java. And if you guys look in here, the derived class in Java is called the subclass. So subclass, and if you guys look in here, that's class child extends parent class, whatever the parent class is. So that's how in Java. So keep in mind that you guys need to create somewhere the class parent. So because the superclass comes in first, class parent. So once you guys define the class parent, and the class child can extend the base class, which is the class parent. And the similar with the PHP is exactly the same. We use it as extend, but in C++, which we are now looking, is a little bit different. So we refer, as I said to you guys before, I'm going to go through this again. We refer inherited class as a base class in C++. The class does the inheritance is called the derived class, or in other words we call it child class for simplicity purposes, simplicity reasons. If you guys don't understand, say the base class is a little bit strange for you guys. The access status of the base class members inside the derived class is determined by access the base class access specifier must be either public, private, or protected. Alright, so we have a class, and you guys looking here, that's private, that's private members, and we have a public, and we have public members here. As you guys know, that the beginning of the, when I introduced you guys the C++ object oriented programming, and I explained to you guys already that what is the public, private, and protected access modifiers. So you have a class, and we coming here and say we gonna put a class foo, for example, class foo. So the class foo in C++, we have private members, and then you guys gonna come here with public, and you guys, and we have public members, and you guys gonna come here as protected, and you guys here, that's your protected members. All right, so why I'm telling you why, and then now you guys might be thinking why Yazdani is telling us about this thing, because this is very, very important in inheritance. You guys keep in mind that if you guys can only access the parent. If your class parent, you guys can access only the parent. The child can access the public members of the class parent. So you guys need to keep in mind. But if you guys gonna go ahead and try to access the protected or private, keep in mind C++ as treat this protected when it comes to inheritance as a private. And I'm gonna show you guys in the next few videos how, but I don't want to confuse you now. But at the moment we're gonna pay attention towards the public access modifiers. So keep in mind that the C++ has a private access modifiers, it has a public access modifiers, and it has a protected access modifier. So there's only three. So we coming here about the public, so we can only access the public of the base class. We cannot access private of the base class or protected. Keep in mind, private and protected is the same when it comes to inheritance, but there's small little bit difference. Okay, so in simple terms, base class in C++ is, we call it is a, and the derived class has a. So for example, and George Senior, which is a father, is a father of George Senior, George Junior. So George Senior, or say for example, you have we can have here as Yazdani Senior, for example, is a father of Yazdani Junior, for example. Okay, so in vice versa, and the Yazdani Junior has a Yazdani Senior as a father, So that's how you guys gonna put it, or you guys gonna put a George, or you guys can put any other things. So the base class is a, we can see that one, and the derived class has a relationship. So keep in mind, this is very, very important. That's the simple terms. If someone asks you in C++, that's how inheritance works. But keep in mind, inheritance is very, very important in C++ object-oriented programming, that if you guys don't understand the inheritance, you guys won't be able to understand polymorphism in C++, and you guys won't be able to understand virtual functions. So very, very important in PHP, especially in PHP, in Java. You guys use it a lot. You guys use it in every single application. I've seen in Java, and I've seen it in PHP. Say for example, PHP, if you guys making somewhere security, for example, class security for your login, and say for example this one is class security, and you guys want to authenticate whatever the user is going to come in your login and registration. So if you guys want to make a class, say for example login, and you want to call this base class, which is the security, you guys needs to put extends. You guys needs to come put a security. because now your class login or class registration extending that's from this parent class, which is very important. And keep in mind, you guys can extend from the two as well. You guys can have a say security in C++, and you guys can have another class which is a base class or authentication, for example, and you guys can extend in say for example in C++ terms, you guys can extend the security and authentication at the same time. You guys can do that. All right, so without further ado, and I don't want to confuse you now with inheritance in C++. So keep in mind that the base class has is a and relationship, and the derived class has a relationship. As I said to you guys, the example is George Senior is a father of George Junior, and Yazdani, for example, is a father of Yazdani Junior. A man is a parent, a child has a parent. So for example, that's another easy way for me to explain. So a man is a parent, a man or a woman is say for example a man or say for example woman is a parent, a child has a parent. So all right, so if you guys familiar with if you guys know here, I'll just put a object composition inheritance. We have another one called object composition. What is object composition? If you guys know already this inheritance, or you guys got any idea about the inheritance, keep in mind there is something called object composition. Is a little bit scary if you guys haven't heard of this, but it's the same process. So I just wanted to, for the sake of completeness, I just wanted to include this one so you guys know already. The process of building complex objects from the small ones is called object composition. So if you guys don't know the object composition, the process of building, and there is a typo here, sorry about that, the process of building complex objects from simple ones is called object composition. So bus, truck, car is made of engine, lights and radiators. So if you guys see here, bus is made of engine, lights and radiators. Okay, as I said to you guys here, the process of building complex objects from the simpler ones is called object composition. Object composition model has a relationship, computer has a keyboard, and the truck has an engine. The types of object compositions, there are two subtypes of the composition. The first one is composition have a complex object is called a whole. Simpler object is called parts, child or component. And the second one is aggregation. And aggregation is has a example, car has an engine. Car is a container class. Container class object is contained within the objects of the container class. Say for example, engine, car has engine. So that's a very brief example of object composition. But if you guys don't understand this, leave a comment, and we're gonna try to address this in the future videos. So we're gonna go through this one in the future videos. But this is because if you guys get it once, you guys gonna understand this. But this one's very important. Inheritance is a very building blocks of the basic building blocks of object-oriented programming. And if you guys don't understand the inheritance, then you guys not going to understand the virtual functions, and you guys not going to understand the polymorphism. So inheritance is very important. You guys need to know how classes interact with each other. Well, what is the base class? And the base class is the parent, and the child class is the derived class. You guys can have tons of example. For example, you child extends the, say for example, class child, say extends the parent. Our class vehicle, for example, class car extends for example class vehicle. Our class truck, for example, class truck extends the class vehicle. Because you guys need to define somewhere the class vehicle, you guys need to first make a class vehicle somewhere and define. All you guys needs to get you guys need to set and get all the wheels, say for example all the lights, all everything, so all the tons, cargo, whatever inside the vehicle, and slowly one by one you guys need to define class truck. But if you guys want to access whatever the class vehicle, the definition of the class vehicle, you guys need to put it inside your child class, for example. Or you guys can say put a class vegetable. That's your class vegetables done. And now you guys gonna put a class cucumber, for example, and that class cucumber extends the vegetable, for example. Easy peasy. And as I said to you guys, now it's the time you guys need to put a public here, and that's defines if you guys accessing the public parts of this class, say for example vegetable. If you have class vegetable and whatever you guys can put it inside the public members, you guys can access these ones. But if you guys can put a protected or private, then that's for our discussion for the future videos. First you guys need to understand the public, and then we can go towards the protected parts or private parts of the base class. But you guys need to understand this one, the access modifiers here, because you guys need to, whatever you guys declare here, you guys can access that one inside the class cucumber, or whatever you guys can put it inside the public members inside the vegetable class. So in the next video we're gonna show you guys very simple example, very easy to understand example. So we're gonna go through inheritance, and you guys gonna see that the inheritance is beautiful. Inheritance is one of the most powerful, very powerful concept of C++ object-oriented programming. It's very interesting. If you guys learn this, and you guys gonna learn Java, and you guys gonna need it inside the PHP or C# or any other object-oriented programming. Alright guys, that's it for this video. If you guys have any question or comment, leave in the comment box. Otherwise I'll see you guys in the next video, and in the next video we're gonna do some coding, and bye.